an American classic, Annie Oakley. One of the greatest sharpshooters that ever lived was actually a woman. Her name was Phoebe Ann Moses, and she was born in 1860 in North Star, Ohio. Her family called her Annie. Today, we know her as Annie Oakley. Annie was very young when her father taught her to load and fire his gun. After that, her father became sick and couldn't hunt for food. Annie was only 9 years old, but she offered to go hunting with his big rifle. To everyone's surprise, she returned with a squirrel she had shot and a black eye. She had overloaded the gun by mistake. When she fired, the rifle kicked back and struck her in the eye. But Annie was so proud of herself that she didn't even mind. With practice, Annie became a crack shot. By the time she was 14, she had earned enough money selling the animals she had shot to help her parents buy the family house. When Annie was 15, she was sent to live in Cincinnati with her older sister and her husband. Annie enjoyed life in the big city, but she missed the excitement of hunting. The only place where she could practice her shooting skills was on a rifle range. There, Annie would fire on tin ducks as they paraded past. She seldom missed. Before long, she was invited to take part in a shooting match against a professional marksman named Frank Butler. Annie must have felt nervous when she saw Frank step up to shoot. He was a grown man, 10 years older than she was, but Annie won the contest. Frank was very impressed by this spirited young woman who could outshoot him. He and Annie became friends. He invited her to one of his shows where he performed as a marksman. As part of the show, Frank shot an apple off a dog's head. The dog named George was a big hit with audiences and with Annie. Frank traveled all over the country performing his act. He never forgot Annie, though. He sent her funny letters written as though they were from George the dog. Annie would write back, telling George that she was practicing her sharpshooting. Before long, Frank and Annie fell in love. They were married in less than a year. In 1882, Frank's partner in his show became sick. Annie had already learned many shooting stunts, and she was eager to perform with Frank. She decided on the stage name Oakley, a town outside of Cincinnati where she and Frank may have first met. Audiences were amazed by the sight of a small, pretty young woman who could shoot a flame from a candle and the center spout out of a playing card. As her final stunt, Annie would shoot a cigarette from Frank's mouth. Soon, Annie became a regular part of Frank's show. A year later, the famous Sioux Indian chief Sitting Bull went to one of Annie and Frank's show. He was so impressed by Annie's shooting skills that he rose to his feet and shouted, "Wantaya Cecilia!" Annie would later learn that this was the Sioux for Little Sure Shot. She liked the nickname so much that she used it for the rest of her days as a performer. Sitting Bull and Annie became close friends. The Indian chief used to say that Annie's eyes were as sharp as an eagle's. He even adopted her as a daughter because she reminded him of one of his daughters. He gave her many gifts, including a beautiful feathered headdress fit for an Indian princess. Annie and Frank joined the famous Buffalo Bill's Wild West show in 1885. The show was an exciting mix of action-filled plays with cowboys and Indians, wild animal stampedes, and native Indian dances. Annie was usually the first act after the opening parade. Frank was Annie's assistant during the performance, releasing targets for her to shoot. Behind the scenes, he helped plan the act and take care of the guns. 2 years later, the show was invited to England to take part in Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee, the 50th anniversary of the Queen's reign. The Queen herself made a special trip to see Annie perform. She was so pleased with Annie's act that she invited her to a private meeting in Buckingham Palace to pay her a compliment. Annie and Frank toured with Buffalo Bill's Wild West show for 17 years. Annie became so famous that she attracted attention wherever she went. She was as popular as movie stars are today. Annie's most exciting experience with royalty happened when the Wild West show toured Europe. The Emperor of Germany and his son, Crown Prince Wilhelm, came to see the show. Imagine Annie's shock when the Crown Prince asked her to shoot a cigarette from his mouth. With members of the royal court looking on, Annie took careful aim and fired. The cigarette flew from the prince's mouth. Annie once again lived up to her name, Little Miss Sure Shot. Annie continued as a sharpshooter even after she left the Wild West show. She competed in shooting matches for prize money and gave much of her winnings to charities that helped poor children. And on her 62nd birthday, Annie shot 100 clay targets in a row just to prove that she was as good a shot as ever. Annie Oakley died in 1926, but she will always be remembered as a woman who chose a life of excitement and adventure at a time when most women were expected to stay home and raise families. Annie Oakley, who lived from August 13, 1860 to November 3, 1926, was an American sharpshooter who starred in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. Since her death, her story has been adapted for stage musicals and films, including Annie Get Your Gun.